Before carrying out repair and maintenance work, set the parking brake, shut off the engine, and remove the key. Always refer to the operator manual for maintenance information. A complete maintenance interval chart is listed in the operator's manual and is also available on a decal on the inside of the chassis access cover between the left drive tires and power module. Refer to the operator's manual for fluid and lubrication recommendations if required. Keep track of operating hours to assure periodic maintenance is performed properly and on a timely basis. Use the cleaning guide as a checklist to become familiar with the following 12-hour or daily maintenance checks. Check the solution tank level. Confirm a minimum of 190 liters or 50 gallons of solution is always available for use by the auxiliary water system. Test the auxiliary water system spray nozzle for proper operation. Check the pressure gauges on both fire extinguishers and confirm they are in the green band. Inspect tires and check pressure. Front dual tires should be inflated to 248 kPa or 38 psi. Rear guide tires should be inflated to 324 kPa or 47 psi. Lubricate the guide axle upper and lower kingpin grease fittings. Before starting the engine, check the engine oil level. The level should be within the crosshatch area on the dipstick. Check the coolant level in the coolant tank on the right platform. At ambient temperature, fluid levels should be at the midpoint on the sight glass gauges. Sight gauges are used for the hydraulic reservoir located on the front side of the power module, the pump drive gearbox viewed from the door on the left end of the power module, and the transmission fluid level on the rear side of the transmission. Lubricate the lift unit rock shaft grease fittings on the left side of the machine and the unit drive shaft covers. Check the level in the onboard grease tank. With the row units lowered to a level position, check the row unit gearbox oil levels in the sight glasses. Remove the moisture system strainers on both moisture columns on each row unit daily. Clean as necessary and reinstall finger tight. The moisture system solution strainer is mounted in the lower front corner of the power module door opening. Move the fill selector valve to off. Remove the strainer daily and thoroughly flush to remove contaminants. Inspect the strainer mesh and sealing O-ring for damage. Use care to prevent cross-threading the strainer canister when reattaching it to the base. Return the selector valve to on after the strainer is reassembled. Bleed the moisture system after cleaning the filter or any time air is allowed into the system. Open the remote bleed valve in the filter mounting bracket. Solution with little or no air will flow from the bleed valve for approximately 10 to 15 seconds before the captured air pocket is purged. Close the valve after air bubbles stop flowing from the valve. 50-hour maintenance. When in the RMB service configuration, lubricate the grease fittings on the 4 gate link bushing pivots. When in the transport configuration, lubricate the grease fittings on the top of the module builder rock shaft bearings. While in the transport configuration, inspect the cotton feeder belt for damage and even tracking from side to side. Remove and clean the cab fresh air filter element when the machine is operated in normal harvest conditions. Clean more often in extremely dirty conditions. Raise the row units and lower the lift cylinder stops. Lubricate the lower dauber bearings. Lubricate the unit lift cylinder pivot pins on each lift frame. Check the primary fuel strainer and water separator. Drain any visible water from the bottom of the separator bowl. 100-hour maintenance. Lubricate the final drive axle shaft couplers on both the inner and outer ends of the right and left drive shafts. Lubricate the outer axle bearing on both final drives. Pump grease into the fittings until grease is visibly being forced past the axle seal. Wipe excess grease from the external seal area before operation. Lubricate the guide axle pivot shaft at the grease fitting on the rear end of the shaft. Lubricate fittings on each end of both guide axle tie rods. Tighten drive axle wheel bolts and powered guide wheel bolts to the specified torque of 610 Newton meters or 450 pound-feet. Check the wrap floor belt tension. Belts should deflect from 25 to 32 millimeters or 1 to 1 1/4 inch with moderate force applied in the center of the belt strands. Most important is that tension is even across all belts. When in the transport configuration, check the lay-down roller drive chain tension and condition at the right end of the roller. Lubricate the chain with a good quality chain lube. Lubricate the unit drive shafts and universal joints. For more detailed information, refer to the operator's manual.